Hey there, wizards. How's it going? If you're new to the Leaky Cauldron, don't be a muggle, subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay updated. You can also become a channel member. This gives you exclusive perks like badges by your name, special emojis for comments, and the option to show support with the thanks button. Oh, the iconic Harry Potter quotes. Who doesn't have a favorite line from this universe, right? There are so many cool quotes, so many awesome lines. And now, with the home box office series coming, it made me think that we'll get to hear those iconic lines being spoken again. Or maybe not, because a lot of the iconic Harry Potter quotes aren't actually in the books. And if the series is adapting the books and those lines are from the movies, they won't bring anything from the films. So, will those lines be in the series? Well, I picked out a few lines here that don't exist in the books. Maybe you don't even realize that these lines don't actually exist in the book, and that they're an invention of the movies. Well, I'll start with the most classic one of all, which even caused some confusion among fans recently. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa. This line, said by Hermione during the Charms class when Flitwick teaches the Wingardium Leviosa spell, doesn't exist in the book. Not in this way. And why was there some confusion about it recently? The actress Arabella Stanton, who will play Hermione both in the home box office series and in the audiobook for the first 3 volumes, appeared in a video saying, "It's Leviosa, not Leviosa." And then she appeared in another one, reading, right? Narrating, doing her audiobook job, narrating the part of the sentence where she says, "It's Vingar, it's Vingar." The gar is long and pronounced. Many people already noticed. They're changing the sentence. They're changing the book. But actually, the sentence in the book is exactly like that. Because in the audiobook, in the video that was from the audiobook, she was narrating exactly what was written in the book. It's to avenge one. The gar is long and pronounced, not like the movie shows, which is Leviosa and not Leviosa, even though that's how it stuck, right? It became very memorable. It was very iconic, but that's a change from the movie. In the audiobook interview, she jokingly repeats Leviosa, not Leviosa, just imitating for fun. So, watch the series knowing in your heart that this phrase might not be there, at least not the way you know it, the way you're so used to. Because our brain makes us get confused many times. I'll mention some phrases, and I'm sure you'll claim they're in the book, but they're not. If I ask you who said the phrase, "Fear of a name only increases fear of the thing itself," who would you say it was? If you answered Hermione Granger, I'm sorry to inform you, but that quote isn't hers. The movies attributed that line to her. In the films, she's the one who says it in Chamber of Secrets, there at Flourish and Blots. But the reality is that Hermione only said Voldemort's name, only had the courage to say Voldemort's name in the 5th book, so it doesn't even make sense for that line to be there, given to her in that movie. The one who says that line is Dumbledore. And it doesn't happen in Chamber of Secrets, it happens right at the beginning, in Philosopher's Stone. He tells Minerva to call Voldemort by his name, because not doing so only makes things more complicated, or just increases the fear around that name. So, that line from Hermione doesn't exist. So keep in your heart that in the series, it probably won't exist either. This one I'm about to say now. It's one of my favorite quotes from Harry Potter. I really like it. And the one who says it is Dumbledore. Dumbledore is the guy with the coolest quotes, right? He has some really great quotes. And then, at the opening feast of the school year in Prisoner of Azkaban, he says, "But remember, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times, if one only remembers to turn on the lights." The atmosphere of this movie is just amazing, right, man? I get goosebumps just thinking about it. I really like this scene. I really like this line, but it's not in the book. It doesn't exist. So, when you're watching the series in the 3rd season and you wonder where's the line that Dumbledore says, he doesn't say it. That line is an invention of the movie. He doesn't say anything like that at all, and it's a really cool line, right? Another line from Dumbledore, also from Prisoner of Azkaban, that I think is amazing. There in Prisoner of Azkaban, Steve Kloves, who is the screenwriter, he was excited. He was excited creating lines to put in there. And then there's that line where he says, "Let him sleep, for in dreams we enter a world that is entirely our own. Let him sink into the deepest ocean, man." That line, man, the context, the way he says it, the enchanted sky, showing it like that, man, that's pure cinema. But that line doesn't exist either. It's not in the book. There's nothing like it in the book. Simply nothing. It's something the movie made up, so know that it might not be in the series. It could happen that they take a line like that from the movie, so iconic, and put it in the script like that. I'm not saying it can't happen. It's not impossible. But I think it's unlikely and hard for them to do. I'm sure you love that line from Sirius, when he hugs Harry, like that, in Order of the Phoenix. And he says that the world isn't divided into good people and Death Eaters. That we all have both light and darkness inside us. And what defines us is the path we choose to follow. My friend, that quote doesn't exist. And nothing like it exists at any point. Sirius never says anything like that. That quote doesn't exist. And I'm sure someone here is going to say, "It does exist, Kako. I'm sure it exists. That quote is in the book, isn't it?" It's your brain playing a trick on you. That quote doesn't exist in the book. Here's another quote attributed to Sirius that I find beautiful and really like. It goes like this. It's cool because it even connects with other movies. It happens in the third movie, and it still connects with the last movie. That's the moment when he talks to Harry. That the people who love us never really leave us. That they can be found here in our hearts. And man, it's a really beautiful line. It's a really beautiful moment in the movie too, right? We're like, wow, Sirius is free? Look at him flying up to the sky on the hippogriff. How cool. He and Harry are going to live together one day. It's great that Harry will finally have the family and connection he lacked. Oh, how we fooled ourselves back then, right? Yeah, that line doesn't exist either. What Sirius says at that moment in the book is that he didn't know how to thank them, that he would never be able to thank them enough. Harry says, "Go on, leave. That guy is after you. Get out. Run." That's what happens in the book. I'm sure you, as a Harry Potter fan, have tried to repeat it. Silly baboons babbling and humming 5 times without stuttering, as Fred and George suggested in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. After Minerva said that when she was talking to the students about the Yule Ball, silly baboons, babbling, humming, silly baboons, babbling in a group. It's not that hard. I think in English it's a bit trickier, like a babbling, bumbling band of baboons. But this comic moment from Minerva doesn't exist either. She never says that in the books. Never, at any moment, on any occasion, nothing. In fact, this whole dance scene is completely made up for the movie, so don't expect Ron Weasley dancing with Minerva McGonagall in the series, because it doesn't exist. It's not going to happen now. In Prisoner of Azkaban, there are other made-up lines, and this is one that I really like, which is when Lupin arrives at the Shrieking Shack. And then he disarms Sirius and points his wand at him and says, "Finally, the body reflects the inner madness." You think, wow, Sirius really is crazy, right? There's nothing like it. Nothing at all, you know? Is there a similar line? And in the movie, they changed it and adapted it. No, it doesn't exist. It simply doesn't exist. And still in that moment, there, at the House of Screams, the line that, "Man, this is one of those. It's easy like that. It goes in easily." In the top 10 of my favorite scenes from the Harry Potter movies, of the best scenes for me, is Sirius screaming. I've already waited a lot. 12 years waiting in Azkaban, man, for me. And the dubbing in this scene, man, it's perfect. I've already waited a lot. But can you believe that's not in the book? It's a huge invention by the movie, man. A huge invention. Because we have to be fair to the movies. We have to be fair. The movies created a lot of cool things that aren't in the books. that made it better, made those parts much better, you know? So, we have to be fair. We note what's missing or changed. They cut this, or in the book it's like this, but also highlight what's better in the movie, like that line from Sirius, him shouting there, "I've waited." It's really brilliant, really crazy, and it's not in the book. What's the closest thing that happens? So it's before Lupin arrives, when Harry starts fighting Sirius there, hand to hand. Sirius grabs Harry by the throat and says, "I've waited a long time." Like that's it, but he's not shouting, he just says like, "No, I've waited a long time," and grabs Harry's throat when Harry is trying to stop Sirius there.
But in the movie, it was much better. And maybe in the series, we won't have this moment, but on the other hand, we might get a full flashback of the Marauders in the series.
For me, it's the same. It's neck and neck now. This one here, this one was created for the movie to break our hearts, okay? After Dobby saves Harry and the others from Malfoy Manor, and then they apparate there, right? At Shell Cottage, near Shell Cottage. Little Dobby is there, right? With the little knife he took to the heart.
And we, are already kind of like, oh, Dobby, it's gonna be okay, my friend Dobby. It's not going to be okay at all.
Then, Dobby falls into Harry's arms and he says what a beautiful place to be with friends. Dobby is happy to be with his friend Harry Potter, and he passes away.
My brother doing it, Zanato cuts in. Sorry, I got emotional here, man. No, seriously. Honestly, it hurts. It hurts, right?
In the book, Dobby. The only thing Dobby says is Harry Potter. He's there with the little knife stuck in his chest, and he says Harry Potter and dies, passes away, goes up, a moment of silence. So, please, for our friend Dobby. Man, there's no way Dobby, man, poor Dobby, right? So that's not going to be in the series? That moment, you're in a beautiful place with friends, and Dobby is happy with Harry Potter. But no one will say this line here. Look, who says it? There is no good and evil. There is only power and those too weak to seek it. Who said that? Voldemort, right?
It wasn't Voldemort, it wasn't Quirrell. It was Quirrell who said that. Quirrell is the one who says that in Philosopher's Stone, there at the trapdoor.
It wasn't Voldemort in the movie. They made it up, they put it on Voldemort, right? But look, it's Quirrell. So, just expect that it won't be there. Just expect that, because then you'll get to the series and you'll say there's a line missing, but no, okay?
It's you who doesn't remember that in the book there's no other line, that there isn't. That's iconic, really iconic.
When Harry and Ron go to investigate the spiders, to follow the spiders, because Hagrid told them to, and Ron is just completely stunned, terrified, scared. Before they enter the forest, Ron asks, "Why spiders? Why couldn't it have been?" Follow the butterflies, man. That line is so good. I crack up with Ron in Chamber of Secrets. Ron, he's Rupert Grint. He's so expressive. I've already said that. For me, he's the best of the three. He's the one who acts the most in the trio. He's really good, really expressive. And this line, these parts of his, both dubbed and subtitled, like, you can see more, you can capture more of the essence of it. But the dubbed version isn't far behind either. Charles Emmanuel does a really great job dubbing Ron. And man, him saying that about why spiders, why couldn't it have been follow the butterflies? That's not in the book. It doesn't exist. So, if you're expecting that line in the series, my friend, it might not be there.
It's going to be weird. It really is. Because those are lines that are so ingrained in us, right?
I don't know. Sometimes not. Sometimes watching the series, which is something totally different, I think it won't be that weird, right? I don't know. You can only know by watching. Another line, this is it's not such an iconic line, but Lucius Malfoy says it at the end of Chamber of Secrets, right? We hope Mr. Potter is always around to save the day. And then Harry says, "I will be. It doesn't exist." That was improvised by Jason Isaacs, and Daniel Radcliffe went along and improvised with him. So, it's not an iconic line, but it's a moment with a line that's not in the book, and that maybe, actually, definitely, won't be in the series. How dare you use my own spells against me? Yes, I am the Half-Blood Prince. Snapeon speaking. Snapeon says, no, he doesn't say that. That doesn't exist. Harry finds out that Snape was the Half-Blood Prince because Hermione did some research. And then there's a newspaper article showing Aileen Prince, who was the president of the Gobstones Club when she studied at Hogwarts. Later, a newspaper article appeared about Aileen Prince marrying Tobias Snape. So the Half-Blood Prince was the Half-Blood Prince, Snape, because his name was Prince. His mother's last name was Prince, so he was the Half-Blood Prince. Got it? He wasn't an actual prince. His name was Prince, which translates to prince, right? That's how Harry learns this, so Snape never directly says it. How dare you use my spells against me? I'm the Half-Blood Prince. That doesn't exist, my friend. It's not iconic, right?
Personally, I don't think it's iconic. But I don't know. Maybe there are people who think it's the greatest of all.
This one isn't iconic. Maybe it's iconic for some people. For me, it's a phrase that makes me feel uneasy. It gives me a feeling, which is, let's go, Tom. Let's finish this the way we started together. Grab it and jump off the cliff. Jump off the cliff? What, kid? Let it go. You ridiculous David Yates.
I had a great idea. Voldemort turns to dust and Harry jumps off him with the cliff.
Go on, you crazy guy, you maniac. Steve Kloves, too, who put this crap in the script. You jerks. This won't be in the series. No way, my friend. What do I expect from the final dialogue? If I'm still alive by then, right? May the forces allow me to be alive. To see this iconic moment adapted in audio-visual, to see Harry putting Voldemort in his place right there, so we can have another one, then we'll have an iconic line from this moment. Iconic. Did you really understand which lines are in the movies that are so iconic but aren't in the books? Do you remember any? Did I miss any here? I picked out the ones that were freshest in my memory.
Because I made a post about this that really blew up, and I thought, man, it would be really cool to make a video about this, right?
An episode on Caldeiraon talking about these phrases, but I'm sure there are more phrases in the movies that aren't in the books. Do you remember any? By the way, there are spells that only appear in the movies, that aren't in the books. It would be nice. Cool to have an episode like that, huh?
Spells invented for the Harry Potter movies. Huh, what do you guys think? Cool, right? I'm sure the series is going to invent spells, you know?
I'm sure the series is going to invent spells, because, if you stop to think about it, we actually have few spells. It doesn't seem like it, but we don't have a very big variety of spells. I think the series is going to expand on that. You can hold me to it. The series is going to invent spells. It's going to invent a bunch of spells. You can hold me to it. When the series comes out, if there are invented spells, you'll see. I saw it on Kako. Kako said it on the Leaky Cauldron. Kako said, look, if the series invents spells, you can blame me. You can say it. So that's it, my wizards. Thank you for watching until now. If you like this episode, leave your like, comment, share it with others, and tell your friends. Hey, remember this phrase? Did you know this phrase isn't in the book, see? Kako said, go there, share it, and comment here. If you remembered any phrase that wasn't in the book, any phrase that's not from the book, or any phrase I forgot to say here, cool, thanks, we're together. See you in the next episode of The Leaky Cauldron. Until then, mischief managed.